Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Well, hello, all the storytellers out there, book lovers, and people of the world. Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers, the grandest online book event of the year. And so listen, we are streaming over all social media platforms. And so we definitely want you to like, subscribe, and follow. And guess what? I want you to do me a favor out there. I want you to share this link with somebody else out there so that they can hear what is being talked about today. And so, of course, I am Tish Barnhardt, the author of So You Want to Be a First Lady, as well as Morning Tea with the King. And so today, backed by popular demand from last week, they have requested for Phil Standback to come back. Okay, so let's welcome Phil back to the stage with us. Welcome, Philip.
Hey.
How are you doing, my friend? Up, and he got the book in his hand. Love it. That means some reading been going on over there.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
I said you're absolutely right. I'm glad to be a part of this.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm glad to have you a part of it, just being able to share from a male perspective. And so, of course, on last week, we had sat down and we talked, of course, about some sections in the book that you liked. And we went over that. And so after the show, there was a request that came in. It was like, hey, we got to bring him back on. And so I'm excited for that. And I'm so grateful that we're able to share today. So I know that you had a couple of favorite parts, of course, in the book that you like. And so we're going to tackle some of that today as well. And so before we do that, though, of course, for those that are new and watching us out there, hi, Hyacinth, I see you. Hi. She says, hi, Tish, good to see you. So before we do that, for all of the new people that are watching today, I want to show them the video book trailer. So let's take a look at that.
The moment you've all been waiting for. The book by master storyteller Tish Barnhardt. So you want to be a first lady? Well, her life isn't always what it seems. Beyond the veil lies the deceit, the lies, and the manipulation, featuring the distraught Carol Smith, master manipulator Leroy Smith, and the sneaky, conniving harlots and Jezebels using their immoral, seductive flattery to destroy the man of God, his marriage, and disrupt the ministry. Order your copy now on Amazon and all other retail outlets.
So my, oh my, if that doesn't make you want to get a copy, then maybe this read will. So Phil likes chapter 9 called The Single Session. So I'm going to read a few passages here and then we're going to get into our discussion. So here goes. Chapter 9, The Single Session. As months go by, the church is growing and bustling with daily activities, and Pastor Smith is teaching and leading the way with a fresh anointed word. First Lady notices how some of the women always want to talk to him and have meetings set up with him at the church while she is at work. Oftentimes, after getting off work, straight to the church First Lady goes for whatever event or class that is going on. She starts to feel that they have no time for their family or even just to sit and have a breather, as Pastor Smith is always teaching classes during the week and almost every Saturday for the people. One Sunday, he announces that he is going to start Saturday sessions for the singles to help them in their singleness journey. And he has the renowned Bishop Larry Tonta that will be helping to do the sessions. First Lady wonders what it will be about because it is the first time she's hearing of it. She is very irritated at the thought of it and begins to think to herself, really, Leroy? Another service to add or something else to do? Jeez, can we ever just get a moment to relax from always having something at the church to do? She thinks about how they had just finished a big project with the renovations at the church when they moved to the new location and how they all pitched in to help and had many late nights doing it. They worked every day on the building. Pastor Smith would drop the kids off at school and head down to the church to work. Those that could help would go while she was at work. When First Lady got off work, she would go by to help and would be completely exhausted. As First Lady continues to listen to Pastor Smith talk about the single session, she tunes him out. First Lady thinks about the time she had gotten a call from Jairus' teacher, who wanted to have a parent-teacher conference with them. When they got there, Jairus' teacher told them lately she had been falling asleep in class and was not getting all of her homework assignments done. Her teacher told them that she asked Jaira if she was getting enough rest and asked what was going on. She said Jaira told her that she was helping out at the church very late at night because her dad was the pastor and wanted everyone to work to get work done. First Lady was so embarrassed and could not believe Jaira had told her teacher that. But after all, she was only 8. First Lady thought maybe this would help Pastor Smith to see the effect that these late nights were having on the kids, as well as her leaving from work, going to help where needed. They both were very lost for words and agreed with her teacher to get her to bed sooner. When Pastor Smith finally got in from the church that evening, he got on Jaira and asked her why she told her teacher he was at the church late, working late. Jaira saw the mean look on her dad's face and knew she was in trouble. Nervously, she responded, "Dad, my teacher asked why I was sleeping in class, and I told her that I was helping out at church because I was, Dad. I didn't tell a lie. Dad, I didn't." First Lady couldn't help but laugh because she was definitely telling the truth. She then told Pastor Smith, "This is why you need to consider not having us at the church all day, every day. There has to be a balance. I know you want things done, and it will get done, but not at the expense of your family. We are tired, Leroy." Pastor Smith said, "Well, y'all ain't got to help. I'll do it by myself if I have to." He grabbed his keys, left them, and went back to the church. So upon hearing the announcement of the added sessions, First Lady braces herself for no rest after church on Sundays, but to come back, sit, and hear them teach the singles for the next couple of weeks in support of her husband. Meanwhile, Most of the single women in the ministry always seem to flock to Pastor Smith to talk about their personal issues and what they had going on. And even more so after the session started with Bishop Tonta and Pastor Smith. As the patterns continue, with some of the women flocking to Pastor Smith after the single sessions, Bible studies, training classes, Sunday morning worship, or any gathering at the church, flirting with him and grabbing his attention any way they could. It disturbs First Lady greatly with their behavior. One evening while at home, she asked Pastor Smith what the women always wanted to talk to him about that is so important and why they seem to get him in a corner to do so. Pastor Smith tells him that some of the women were struggling with having sex and wanted advice on what they should do. First Lady tells him she feels those conversations were something that should have been discussed in front of her, and asks why single women should feel comfortable enough to go to her pastor to tell him that without his wife present. Pastor Smith says, they asked to speak to me, not you and me. First Lady says, it isn't appropriate for you talking on that subject matter with them like that alone. You could call me over and bring me into the office when they start talking like that, because you do not know what these women are up to. No woman should be comfortable having a conversation with you, a married man and their pastor, about sex issues and boldly letting you know that they do not want me, your wife, in there unless they have some other motive. These women should have some morals about themselves, and you should want to protect yourself from anything that could come of it, especially if they start to claim you are coming on to them or talking to them a certain way. You should want me there with you, period, for covering. Pastor Smith says, well, they don't want you in there and already expressed that. First Lady is livid. She says, well, for you to agree to their request says a lot about you and your character and the level of respect you have for me as your wife. It also shows a lot about those women and their true intentions. Pastor Smith says, no, it does not. They don't want you there because they feel you aren't real and can't help them. First Lady says, I don't care what they think at this point, and I don't have to say anything. As long as I'm in the room, you can certainly do the talking. It's inappropriate doing it alone, especially with the things you say they're telling you, like how they want to have sex all the time and how they all want what they want to do and what they did the previous night, according to what you've told me. Now, come on, Leroy. This is a tactic to get you. Pastor Smith says, Carol, I can handle me. I don't want them. They continue to argue profusely about it, and eventually Pastor Smith gets up to leave and says he's going to the church to cool off. When he comes back, it is well after midnight. So let me give you some wisdom nuggets here. You got to read in between there. I skipped over a little bit. Wisdom nuggets, First Ladies. Self-care is important. You have to take time for yourself so that you are not worn out and become on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I know you are trying to keep it together for the sake of your marriage, children, and your own image, but you must take some me time. If your husband does not slow down and continues to build sun up to sundown, you have to make sure that your children are not affected by it adversely. Take care of your family needs if he does not. Your children need somewhat of a balanced life so that they are able to function in school if you have school-age children. Sometimes we can become so busy with our affairs, we aren't paying attention to the kids and their immediate needs, which often results in missed opportunities of monumental moments in their lives. Do not be excessively righteous and do not be overly wise. Why should you ruin yourself? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 16. Also, if your husband ever tells you women do not want you present, question it every time. There's something more to this story that is not being told. Do not sit idly by watching women have their way with your husband and or him having his way with them. Take an opportunity to pull that woman to the side and have a conversation with her. Teach the women how to conduct themselves around their leader and let them know having inappropriate conversations with your husband shows lack of respect for his marriage, and especially if they do not want you as his wife present. Older women likewise are to be reverent in their behavior, not malicious gossips, nor enslaved to much wine, teaching what is good so that they may encourage the young women to love their husbands, to love their children, to be sensible, pure workers at home, kind, being subject to their own husbands so that the word of God will not be dishonored. First Titus, 2nd chapter, verses 3-5. Pastors and husbands, do not be so busy with the work of ministry or your business and the success of it that you drain your family. God also gave you a responsibility to build and protect your family. There needs to be family time set if you have children, as well as time set for you and your spouse. Now, this does not include the time riding in your car from one destination to the next with the family or your spouse. You have to set apart a specific time for this, as well as continue to go on dates. That's important. But if a man does not know how to manage his own household, how will he take care of the church of God? 1 Timothy verse 3-5. Women of God, people that want to be the first lady, you want these shoes and you don't know what it is. Listen, women of God, don't come before your pastor or leader loosely with conversations that are inappropriate. Have some integrity about yourself. If there are candid conversations you need to make sure his wife is present to cover yourself, as there are times the leader could cross boundaries upon hearing your issue for their own personal gain and pleasures. They will often use the word of God to manipulate the situation and have you thinking their actions and behaviors are okay. Let no unwholesome word come out of your mouth, but if there is any good word for edification according to the need of the moment, say that, so that they will give grace to those who hear. All right, so those are the wisdom nuggets. So Philip, why chapter 9, this single session here? What is sticking out with you, my friend?
Oh man, it's a lot. It's a lot. I love chapter 9. I even love that wisdom nugget. That wisdom nugget was real key to chapter 9. But
Which one?
the wisdom nugget, a few of them. Actually, the last one that you just went over, you was pretty much preaching and you was teaching to young women about how to carry themselves within the church.
You're on mute. You're on mute. Can't hear you.
It was just
okay, there we go. We missed all of what you just said. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The other part of that was just basically it was just telling men too, like husbands, sometimes you got to take your time to think about your family, spend time with your family. Everybody life throughout the year can get busy, but it's real important to have those date nights and those special times, them special dates and dinners with your wife. Also, your kids, have them involved. And I like that you put that in there. Going back to this chapter, single sessions. I like this chapter. One thing I liked that stood out about it was preparation. I say it's preparing men, pastors, and men that's not in ministry to prepare themselves when it comes to being around women that's single, and you're a married man. Myself, when you're men, do not listen to your wife sometimes. Men know how men think and women know how women think.
Absolutely.
So it takes a woman to sometimes listen to her and don't ignore what she's trying to tell you about stuff, because certain women can get just a little bit and run with it. And listening to this chapter, reading over this chapter, it was just, I stay locked into this book, and I love what I'm getting from this book because it's so real and authentic. And it's just even with the kid, being busy, the kid falling asleep in class. And you can tell the Smiths are real dedicated to the church, but
Mhm.
sometimes you got picking up those extra classes, those that it wasn't needed, and it goes to show you that. So listen to your wife, and that's how I felt about that chapter.
Absolutely, Phil. Thank you so much. You shared a good bit of information there. We missed all of what you said the first time because the sound went out on us, but I'm sure we'll pick back up on some of that. But you're absolutely right. We have to take that time. And I'm so glad that you said that as a man, recognizing that. Let's see. Jeanette Wallace said, I totally agree. Family time is important, and a man should take care of his household more than anything else. Absolutely, Jeanette. Thank you so much for that comment. Sometimes, like Phil is saying here, that we can become so overly busy, with the success of our businesses or the ministry or whatever, and we lack in our homes. How oftentimes do we put our families on hold for someone else or something else? We've all done it. We've all done it. We've all said, well, okay, well, hold on one second, because I got this over here to do, or such and such is calling me, and we could be having a family meeting and your phone ring up. I got to take this call. You know what I mean? We do that a lot. And so we often hurt the very people that are in our homes, that love us, that see us every day, that are around us every day, that are supporting us every day, and we'll take a phone call or a meeting or something that someone else said over our own spouses, over our own children. We'll run to them. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't, run to them in certain times, but there has to be boundaries that are set. And of course, with ministry, it's very hard to bring that balance, because of course you are there to cover the sheep that are in the pasture. You're there to feed them. You're there to counsel them. You're there to be there for them. But I will say, there has to be boundaries. We're seeing too many scandals going on right now within the body of Christ. And I believe that this is one of the reasons why God called me to this assignment, to be able to bring back a balance, to be able to bring the body of Christ and the church back in line and back in order. Because really, the Lord is coming soon, right? And so we want to be in order. We want to be found, doing the will of the Father, that he might be pleased with us. And so, Phil, thank you so much for sharing that. Can I see some more of the comments? Let me answer some more comments. Okay, Joanne Rather comment saying, having integrity as a family unit matters in order to successfully fill in the shoes of being a first lady in the household. You are absolutely right. Integrity in our families is most definitely key. And oftentimes we don't know what the first lady is going through, because she's not going to tell you, and she's going to wear it well. All right. Janet Abrams said, the nuggets of wisdom in your book really encourages us. I am so grateful, Janet, that you mentioned that they are encouraging, because that's what they're meant for. You do get a juicy read. Obviously, you hear the reading here, you hear the storyline, but it's there to be transparent. It's there to hit you at home, at your own life, or somebody else's that may be going through this or a particular thing. Let's see. Olivia Brown said, Tish, you are a storyteller. That sounded so juicy, but gotta hand it to the First Lady. She makes a good point. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all so much for these beautiful comments of my storytelling. I have just been letting you guys know that this is my first time doing storytelling like this. And so it is amazing. So I'm definitely enjoying it and what I do. Okay. Janet Abram also said, I want to recommend this to my mom. She really needs the wisdom you're sharing in your book. Yes, Janet. Yes, please get it for your mom. Recommend it to other friends, family. I'm telling you, this is an all-around book, not only for a female, but as we're listening to Phil share here today, this has some good nuggets in it for the men as well. And so for him to get it out of here, that's why we're talking to a male today, so that you can hear it from the male's voice, not mine, why you as a male should get it. And I'm just thrilled, to hear him say that the book has him locked in, that, he wants to see what's in the next page, and he is getting, the nuggets from it and really seeing things from a different perspective as well. And so oftentimes, we don't really see, how we are, what we do, because ever had a person to say, you always do do that. And what do you say? No, I don't. Well, guess what? They see you, you don't. And so people used to tell me all the time, your face looks this way, or it looks this way. It looks like you're not excited. I'm like, well, I don't feel that way when I'm making this space or whatever I'm saying. And so, you know what I started doing? I started saying, okay, well, everybody keeps saying that I'm doing this. So I got in front of the mirror and I started talking to myself like I was talking to other people, right? And I was like, well, maybe my face does look like I don't want to say something. So I started trying to fix that, right? And so y'all talk about how bubbly I am and how full of energy and everything I am. Listen, I've always been this person, but I am so grateful today that God has just, had his hand on me and just allowed me to do what I do. Here's another comment from Debbie. Duan said, do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Well, you know what? Absolutely. Because the Bible says that all things work together for the good of them that love God and to them who are called according to his purpose. And that's the thing that I think that we miss sometimes, the his purpose. So whatever it is that we are experiencing in life, we have to understand that there is a greater purpose behind it. You couldn't have told me, many years ago that I would become a divorce statistic. You couldn't tell me as a former first lady that I would have experienced some of the things that I experienced. You couldn't have told me that. You couldn't have told me that I would be laid off from a job or whatever. You couldn't have told me those things, right? So there are many things that you might be experiencing yourself that you never thought you would be in. But guess what? You don't have to remain there, right? So you use that and it'll catapult you to the next level if you let it. So don't remain stuck, but realize that you are meant to fly, okay? You are meant to fly. You're not meant to stay where you are. Take the pain that you've experienced and use it for purpose, okay? Eleanor said, what inspired you in writing so you want to be a first lady? Well, God gave me this book back in 2006, 2007, sitting in the middle of a service, and he said, so you want to be a first lady? And it was a book that he was calling me to write to help first ladies. So it was inspired by God. And so from 2006 up until 2023, when it was published, now we see what's going, the why behind it all. So we do have an Amazon review that came in on yesterday, and I wanted to be able to read this review, y'all. So people are still reading the book and still putting reviews up here. So I want to read this review that came in just on yesterday, you guys. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can see it here. Okay, can we take me down so I can see? Okay, let's see. Tamika said, and she gave a 5-star rating. Purchase, you won't be disappointed. Let me start out by saying I'm not a person who can sit still enough to actually read a book, but me and Tish are childhood friends, so I thought I would give it a try, and I'm glad I did. It took me a while to finish because of work, but I couldn't wait to start where I left off every break I got. This is a book that you will not want to put down because you will want to know what the First Lady will do next. I want to tell you more, but I don't want to give it away, LOL. Buy this book. You won't be disappointed. Great book written by a great person and friend. Thank you, Tamika, if you're watching out there. Now, that is a friend that I know personally, of course, a childhood friend that had bought the book and was reading on it as well. And so we're so grateful for that. Are there any other comments on here that I can answer real quick? I know that we have a few more minutes left, so I want to make sure that I can respond to any other questions or comments you might have. All right. Tisha Grooves commented, I agree. We should never ruin ourselves when our marriage is on the rocks. Absolutely. That's very key. Absolutely. All right. Anyone else? Is there any other comments? All right. Chad Warren said, it is interesting to see the perspective of a man. Absolutely. You hear that, Phil? Yes. He got thumbs up. Y'all, he got his little 49ers hat on over there because, they done made it into the Super Bowl. Okay. I ain't mad at it, though. Okay. Tashia Go and said, are you currently in your training? Was it ARC as an author? Are you currently in your train? I'm not sure what ARC means out there as an author. I don't know everything, you guys. So I'm not sure to see what you're asking there. I'm so sorry, darling. But I'm not in any training. Okay. Evan said, nice cap, Philip. Love it. So another 49ers fan, I'm sure. Well, listen, we definitely want to thank you guys for tuning in with us today for our live session. Of course, now I want you to join me back here on tomorrow at 1. I will have another guest on here sharing from her perspective as well of the book. And so, Phil, thank you again for coming back on. You, really gave us some great nuggets today just from the perspective of men. And I definitely want to appreciate you for that. Thank you, storytellers. Thank you, book lovers. Thank you, everybody that's tuning in with us. Remember, you can go and pick up So You Want to Be a First Lady from all of the retail sites out there that are selling books. Amazon, Books A Million, Walmart.com, Barnes & Noble. You also can go to www.tishbarnhardt.com if you'd like to get a personalized autographed copy from me. I'd be grateful to do that for you. And listen, as we say here at Reader's Magnet, we share your stories with the world. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Bye for now.